Today I'm going to show you how to write an offer on a property that's listed in the MLS. I've looked up the property online and found the listing, and so I'm going to scroll right over here to the button that says Transaction Desk to the left. And I've already gone to the supplements and opened up the PDF of the supplements, and I saved them to my Dropbox because I'm going to need those for later. So back here, you're going to go back and hit Transaction Desk. It will open up the Transaction Desk screen. And before I showed you how to use templates, so I'm using my buyer templates, and then it is already importing from Gateway, and I'm going to be the selling agent. So I just hit Create. And it's filled in some information here for me. You can fill in the rest of this information as you want to, but it's not really necessary. So I'm going to click the button that says Next. And now it's going to ask me for transaction dates. And so our offer date will be today. And I'm going to hit Next. And now it's asking for contacts, and it's filled in me and the listing agent and both of our respective companies. So I'm going to hit the button that says Add, Create New Transaction Contact. They're going to be the buyer. And this person has made offers with me before, and so as I start to type his name, it pre-fills, but otherwise you would just do that yourself. Name and email address, and click Yes to add to address book, and then yours will be in the drop-down menu next time as well. You don't need to fill in legal name, preferred signature, preferred initials. I don't use the address portion either. Click Save. And now you can see he's listed as the buyer. Click Next. And since I use transaction templates, it's filled in the forms for me. If you didn't use transaction templates, then you would press the Add button right here to add templates. So I'm going to look at all of the forms that I have in my templates and make sure that it's relevant to this transaction. So I will keep my notice of treatment and repairs. For your protection, get a home inspection. It does have a homeowners association, so I'll keep that. I don't think I need the blank addendum, but for now I'm going to keep it in here. The disclosure of brokerage services, estimated cost to buyer. He is getting a conventional loan. I'm pretty sure. I'm getting ready to double check that before I delete. Let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to pop over to my Dropbox real quick. And I'm going to hide this from you real quick here, since it's got his private information on there. Somewhere on here it says, okay, he's got a conventional loan. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the FHA insured loan. So right here, I'm going to click and then scroll down and delete. Yes, I wish to delete that item. It doesn't need the lead-based paint, so I'm going to delete. He does have a house for sale, and it is not currently under contract, so I'm going to click right here and delete that other one. I don't need the USDA, so I'm going to delete that. And he's already signed a buyer broker service agreement with me since we've already been making offers, so I'm going to delete that. So now I'm left with my TRR, for your protection, get a home inspection, homeowners association, blank addendum, disclosure of broker services, estimated cost to buyer, uniform contract, sale of buyer's property not currently under contract, and conventional loan. So I'm going to click Next. I don't need to add any other documents. And click Done, and now my transaction is ready for me to get started. So right over here, remember we talked about in one of the other videos that this portion over here is the menu for the entire transaction desk dashboard, not just this transaction. Over here, these little dashes, this is the menu for your current transaction. So I like to open that up so I can see the transaction wizard to help me find my way back and forth. So if at this point I remembered, oh, I needed to add somebody else onto the contract, I could click contacts and I could add it here. Or if I forgot a form, I can add it here. So whatever you need to do, it's right here. So I'm going to go into the forms and I'm going to start filling out the form. So I'm just going to click on each one and review it. It's pre-filled the information for me. There's nothing I need to do here, so I'm going to click on transaction forms. It'll give me a drop down menu, and I'm going to go look at the next one, disclosure of brokerage services. I'm going to click sales agreement, and this doesn't pre-fill for some reason. This is really hard to type while you're putting your arms around a camera. Make sure you save at the end of everything or it will not save. I'm just going to do the next one in the row is the estimated cost to buyer. This is what will really save you time if you filled out your estimated cost forms. So the sales price is going to be $207. Loan amount, I don't know that amount just yet. You don't really have to fill that out. I'm going to put $200. He's not going to have any upfront mortgage fee. We're going to put the closing date. This is a contingency offer, and so I don't want to just put 30 days. I'd like to give them a little bit more time to sell their house. So I think I'll do, instead of the end of April, I'll probably do like the last week of May and see if they'll go for that. And we can calculate these payments over here, but I'm not going to do that today. We're making a conventional offer. He's not paying my commission. And I'm going to, I guess I didn't have this filled out. That's weird. So when we got the new transaction desk, we had to, we lost some of our documents because they updated them. And so I think I've added the forms, but maybe didn't go back and fill them all out. Okay, so I'm just kind of filling in some basic information here. No matter what your purchase price is, a lot of times your loan fees and your title fees are about the same. So when you're filling out your forms, I usually put in about $500 for appraisal, $50 for credit report, $250 for underwriting, $350 for doc prep, $50 for flood. And then I normally just put in 15 days worth of interest. And so, but on this contract, I'm going to have 1 week left in the month. I'm going to have 25 days worth of interest. So my offer is $207,000 times 4% equals, 200,000 times 0.04, 4% equals $8,000, and divide that by 365 days. So that's $21.91 a day. So I'm going to say $22 a day times 7 days. So 7 times 22 equals $154. I'm going to guess that the hazard insurance premium on this one's going to be about $2,400 a year. And so that would be $200 a month times 3 months. That's $600. I'm going to look back over on my matrix list, MLS listing, and I see that their taxes are $2,672. So I'm going to just round that up to $2,700 divided by 12 months equals $225 times 3 months. That's $675. So I'm going to click back over here to transaction desk and put in $675. 600 goes on the insurance and 675 goes on the property taxes. The reason I just took the annual amount of what I guess to be $2,400 divided by 12 months is $200 a month, and I'm going to give them a reserve of 3 months, so that's $600. And in case you didn't catch how I did that on the county taxes, I went to the matrix, I scrolled down and I looked to see how much their taxes were. I divided that by 12 and times it by 3. So that gave me $675. So this portion right here and this portion right here will be specific to the property that you're doing. Settlement fees, no matter what the sales price is, it's usually going to be about $100 for that, about $150 for attorney fees, $100 for gap check, and then the title insurance is based on their purchase price. And title insurance have gone up just like all insurance has gone up. So I'm going to tell them about $650 on this one. You can get cheat sheet charts from your title companies so that you can come up with the amount that you need to use on that. Recording fees, $50, mortgage certification, $100. Home inspections are usually $85 to $100, and termite inspections, and then regular home inspections are going to be usually around $450. I scroll down and look to see if I got it right. It says $67.29, and that's just about right. Closing cost on a home that runs probably, I would say, like 100 to 150 are going to cost in the high 5,000s, maybe the low 6,000s. A $350,000 home is going to be like 6,500 to 7,500, and in the middle there is going to be about 55 to 65. So if you're hitting in these numbers, it's okay. Just remember that it says right up here estimated, and when I show this to clients, I always point that out. This is estimated. So we're going to try to negotiate $7,100 in buyer's closing cost, and then we'll have him put down $500 earnest money, and that shows where he'll end up. So I'm going to click save, because you certainly don't want to forget to save when you're doing the number sheet. You'll be doing it all over again. Hit transaction forms, scroll down to the next one, which is the uniform contract. The other agent that has this listed is not somebody in my office, so I'm not going to click in-house transaction. That means if somebody's in your office. Buyer has received a property condition disclosure dated within 180 days. Here's where I downloaded it. Let's take a look at it and make sure that it's dated within 180 days. Okay, so we're getting very close here. That's October, November, December, January, February, March. This one is actually not dated within 180 days, so they're going to have to update that and give us a new one. It was constructed after 1978, and so it's exempt. And I'm going to click, actually I don't need to click save, because if you just keep scrolling down, we've got the rest of the contract here. So we'll do conventional loan, single family homeowners association, and that it is contingent upon their home not under contract. Anytime you add any documents to a contract, you need to list here that it's part of the contract. So if you made some other list of property or something that's supposed to come with the house, you would put here and you would type blank addendum. Or if you were selling a new construction home or something and it had like a list of features that were going to be added into the home and it's part of the contract, it's not actually part of the contract unless you've made it part of the contract right here. So we want to go ahead and fill in the seller's name. So I don't know who that is, so we're going to go back to the matrix and click tax records right here, and it'll pop up and it'll show us who the owners are. That's really weird, it just says Mar. Normally you would see somebody's name there. Let's scroll down and see. Here it says Mar Family Trust. So I'm going to copy that. And look what it did here. I don't know if you can tell this or not. Let me try to angle this. When I clicked the matrix, instead of opening up a new window, it changed my transaction desk window to Realist. Fortunately, we can just hit the back button, and there we are right where we were again. I don't really like that it does that, and I haven't found a way to eliminate it. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to paste Mar Family Trust. There's the seller. Legal Edition, I have to click the Matrix tab, and look, it says Kings Ridge 4, Lot 4, Block 4. So I'm going to copy and paste. Lot 4, Block 4. Everybody forgets to put in the legal address, but you're supposed to type it in there. Now, since I did the forms, it's filling in for me a lot of my normal stuff, like I like to use American Eagle Title, but I'm going to be filling in all the stuff that's pertinent to the contract. And I said May 26th. And I like to fill in, instead of the 5 days, I like to give us a little extra time because you just never know when you're going to need it. That's loan closing time right there. Additional inclusions. Okay, I can't remember if this had a refrigerator or not, so I'm going to go back and look at the pictures and see if there was a fridge in there. There was not. Refrigerators, washers and dryers, hot tubs, anything basically that looks like it might stay with the house but is not bolted down. If it's not listed right here on section 4, you have to write it in here on additional exclusions or on a blank addendum. If you don't, then they don't have to leave it with the house, even if it's set it in the MLS sheet. And you could also have the buyer and the seller sign the MLS sheet and highlight that, but I like to make sure it's written in here too. All right, so I'm not going to fill in the time period because this is a contingency offer, and they don't do the inspections on contingencies until after their home goes under contract. So let's see, that's number 5. So we'll make a note of that down a little bit later in the contract here. Commitment for title insurance policy. All the rest of this, we're not asking for a home warranty. I already have filled in that they're going to do a full termite treatment should it fail. And right here, I'm going to say number 5, time reference date to begin after 1004 their house. We'll say to begin 12 days. That way it'll give his buyers time to inspect his house, and then he knows he's moving forward and he would begin to inspect this house. Okay, so I want to explain when I scroll back up here to number 5. It says right here that the time period specified shall begin on, and you can put a date in here, but if you don't fill the date in, it says right here, regardless of the date the contract is signed, the buyer and the seller, by the buyer and seller, the day after the time reference date shall be counted as day 1. If left blank, which I do leave it blank, the time reference date shall be the 3rd day after the last date of the signatures of the parties. So if the seller agrees to this and everybody signs on the 25th, then when we count 26th, 27th, 28th, then this date would be the 28th. But the reason I don't want to fill that in right now is because if the sellers take 2 or 3 days to sign this, then it's cutting into our inspection time. And then I leave this portion blank, or sometimes if I feel like I'm going to need a little bit more time, I will fill it in 13 or 14 days. I don't really go past 14 days. And I also won't accept an offer past 14 days. I really want people to do the inspections 10 days or less. So let's get back down here to where we were. Okay, so we filled in 13. It already says about the termite treatment. Keep on scrolling. And it filled in his name. I'm not going to put in the MAR trust here because some trustees are going to have to sign it. And then shall automatically terminate on. It's going to terminate tomorrow at 5 p.m. So this is already filling in my real estate information here. If yours isn't filled in, you need to put in your license number, my office number, and it might fill in my contact information here, so you should probably overwrite that with your cell phone number and email. We've asked them to work on that on the matrix, and I don't know, it's kind of glitchy. All right, so remember to click save every single time. If in doubt, always click save. You can click it in the middle. See, it pops you right back to the same screen, so you don't have to worry about losing anything. The next thing is the property condition, sale of the buyer's property. And so we're going to tell them what the address is. Oops. Okay, and I got to double check his address. I'm going to go back to my listing here. Active listing 73099. Yukon. It says it's now exclusively listed, or you can say that it will be listed within 2 days. And if you say it's going to be listed in with 2 days, it really needs to be. File, save. Transaction forms, the last one is the conventional loan. So we're filling in the purchase price. And this already says 10 days. You can leave that blank if you want. They've already applied for a loan, so it doesn't matter. When I showed you how to do the transaction templates, I had you fill out here, seller to pay blank, 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 in buyers, closing cost and prepaid. I like to put and any other item on buyer's side of HUD. Just because I don't want anybody fighting me saying, hey, we didn't agree to pay their inspections or whatever. So I didn't initially put this in my templates, but I like to train all my agents to do that because I don't want you to forget that you meant to put closing cost here. So I'm going to put $7,100. That's what we are asking for. Save it. And now we've done everything. So I'm going to exit out of this. Okay, so I filled out all my paperwork and I'm going to turn off this video and start a new one on how to do Authentisign.